Thank you for coming and finding your seat. So, how are you guys doing? Did you sleep all right last night? You did? Oh, the parents for a small child did, so that's, look at you. You didn't? I didn't either. I was convicted. Yeah. Have you been convicted before? I don't know if you noticed, as we left the building last night, we all decided to go to different restaurants. And some chose to go to a place that we've learned is named Hell. And is it good there, you say? Yeah? Okay. and we decided to go somewhere else. And I shouted, well, you could just go to hell. And that was really bad. I feel so bad about it. It tormented me through the night. So that's not a good thing to say. And I'm very sorry, honestly, I'm very sorry. It's not something we should desire anyone to do. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I just have to say again, I'm very sorry. I think it may have been my first time in my adult life I've ever said that. But it came very easy. And it scared me. I think Ulla looked at me too and she was shocked. She said, wow. And then afterwards I was shocked too. So I'm sorry, you guys. Thank you. I'd like to read to you from the Bible. I don't know if you noticed, but the book of John, in chapter 20, verse something, John writes, Jesus did many other signs and miracles among his disciples, but these I have written down that you may have life and that you will believe that Jesus Christ is the Lord. And in the book of John, the Gospel of John, John writes about 7 miracles, 7 signs. And think about it, if you wanted to take out of everything that Jesus did, you get to choose 7 miracles to present to your friends or to your children or to your DTS class or whoever you want to present it to. Which miracle would you choose? Yeah, that's what John chose, but which one would you choose? The loaves and the bread. Well, it's quite interesting that out of the 7 miracles that Jesus did, 2 of them happened while he was having kitchen duty. Have you noticed that? It's the wine miracle and it's the feeding of the 5,000. And I think sometimes we forget that the miracles of God are so closely connected to our daily schedules and our daily work and everything that we're doing. And I'd just like to read to you, this is from the feeding of the 5,000. And if you have ever been tired of having kitchen duty, let this be encouraging to you. When his disciples thought this had gone long enough, it was now quite late in the day, they interrupted. We are a long way out in the country and it's very late. pronounce a benediction and send these folks off so they can get some supper. Jesus said, you do it. Fix supper for them. They replied, are you serious? You want us to spend a fortune on food for their supper? But he was quite serious. How many loaves of bread do you have? Take an inventory. That didn't take long. 5, they said, plus 2 fish. Jesus got them all to sit down in groups of 50 or 100. They looked like a patchwork quilt of wildflowers spread out on the green grass. Now that's the master doing some administration, working on, putting people into 50s or 100. That's quite a lot of work because there were 5,000 men plus women and children there. I'm amazed by that. He took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, lifted his face to heaven in prayer, blessed, broke, and gave the bread to the disciples. And the disciples gave in turn gave to the people. He did the same with the fish. They all ate their fill. The disciples gathered 12 baskets of leftovers. More than 5,000 were at the supper. I want to encourage you as you are working these days with this booklet that Oivind has given you. Because this is not an either planning or the Spirit. It's the thing working together. And some of you are in maybe a difficult situation because you have made plans or you're writing down your things and it's so big, it's not, you can't fit it here. And so what I was doing here yesterday, I had to choose just one thing. And because I do so many different things, I couldn't put all of that into this, this space that's here, whatever it is. Sorry. Wherever it is. No, well, anyway, this is mine. And so I chose just one thing. I chose the youth segment. I have passion for young people. So I said, okay, one of the things that I work for is I want to see a youth movement in Norway. That's my passion. I want to see why I'm engaged with the youth movement. And so I started putting down, okay, who do I have that serve with me? And I put them down. And then I put down, what's my vision? And I wrote, a youth movement. YWAM touched thousands of kids, of young people. And our project, youth, they look to YWAM and participate in YWAM's work. And together, we make God known. And then I started, filling in all the things. I just took a small segment of my thing. And then afterwards, I was taking a look at it. And I was filled with a little bit of a desperation. Because when I looked at the people in my team, none of us were focusing on young people. None of us. And it was such a revelation for me. It was a negative revelation, but wow! If I am ever going to achieve this goal. Now, making a youth movement is one of YWAM's 5 2020 goals for YWAM Norway. And I realized that, because I did this exercise with Oivind, I see now that we're not going to do that because we're not putting our efforts into it. We have no one focusing on it. It's just, we use our pinky sometimes working on it, but we're not giving our passion. And to me, that was such a blessing. but it was also very stretching. And maybe as we're doing these things together, and maybe you're taking your part and putting down your things, don't get discouraged if you get stretched. But take that as an inventory. You know, Jesus asked the disciples to take an inventory. How many loaves of bread do we have? And they did. I've just taken an inventory. How many youth workers do I have on my team? None. So we need a miracle. And God's miracles can be happening in these papers. I just want to encourage you very strongly. Do you want to say something?
No, not always. I just feel in a prophetic perspective here. I just want to bring in something here because we know the time, and I love this. In the natural, I'm very different, but I feel that we are plowing the ground, and the ground is hard. But we need to plow there, so we need to endure pain here. So I suggest, why don't we give up an encouraging hand and say, keep it up. Come on, can we clap and rejoice? And just say, come on, let's keep it up. Let's endure the pain. And because we are building revival here. I had the same experience, and it's horrible, wonderful, stretching. But both Runar and I, we like to exercise. And you know, when we build muscles, it's through pain. You know that. And sometimes we are so naive when we come to Christian things. We cry under the table, oh God, this is so hard. No, we should stand and say we endure this. I have to push myself to be here and just do this, but I will. And so see the timing. We are putting in a plow, and we're plowing our ground, we're throwing in seeds, and we believe in, and we need to be patient. We need to think the long term. This is what just one round of doing it. Maybe we need to do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it's it. I'm committed to that. So let's think like that. It's very important.
Thank you. I really liked your prophetic applause. That's a good one. I don't think I've done that before. Thank you. But this is good. And this is what we are getting now is a tool that we can bring with us back home, and we can apply it to so many aspects of our ministry. You know, I applied it to youth ministry, but then just a few pages later, we applied it to our communication department. And we applied it in a different area. And this is how you can use it. So I just want to encourage you, let's not stay blessed ignorant, but let's put our effort in learning how we can really achieve. And I think Oivind, he is both energetic to listen to, and he's a humble man, isn't he? He tells about his successes, but also his failures. And I really like that. I'm very happy. Come, Oivind. Let's enjoy Oivind's teaching even more. All right? Yeah, they're clapping. It's a prophetic applause again, I think. Lord, we thank you that you have equipped Oivind and given him the gifts that you have given him. It truly is a precious gift for your body and for the churches and for us as YWAM. And Lord, I ask that you will just stretch us, mold us. Let us be as the clay that is in the potter's hand, and that you can form us so that you can use us as vessels for your kingdom. And Lord, I want to pray a prayer that Jesus also prayed. Not our way, but your way, Lord. So lead us. Not my way, but your way, Lord. And so I ask that you will bless Oivind this morning, that you will give him courage, that you will give him the right words to say, that you will notify him when to explore on issues, when to emphasize things, and when to show grace. We thank you for this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Go for it. Thank you. Thank you for your hard-working time. It will be hard-working time, so. You ready? I will have some introduction and put you back to work. But just let us start where we started yesterday. We started that there is a balance between character and competence. It's not only be faithful, character, but also be able, have competence and skills to really do it. and you need both and. Though we think character, comfort, charisma, giftings and love will stand. We believe that. I think it's biblical. The second one, it's always a balance between results and people. We need to focus on people, lead people, get the people with us, but we need also to achieve something. We need to move something. We need to see something that is happening around us. And there we lead from our identity, knowing our own history, embracing our history, that we really are open with our history and that God loves us with everything we are and we are living out of grace. This is knowing our history. We know our potential, we understanding our deeper purpose and motivation or conviction. We have an integrated life house. We have a good support team around us. And there is building the identity that we serve out from, who we are, more of ourselves with skills, but also adapting to the environment. But you will not have anything happening without self-responsibility. This I teach here will not happen if you not use the time here, are self-responsible for the thing, the input you have, nothing will happen. It's your choice. But you also need to take social responsibility to build trust, give respect, have courage to deal with the tough thing in your team and in your surrounding. It's taking personal social responsibility. And all this has to be character. This is more discipline side. This is more the social side of really connecting well from who you are with the people around. Both are very important. You build trust and respect, but you don't move anything if you don't have any competence on this area. Management competence, to really move things. And there it's not only to have a lot of conviction, motivation and passion, but also and vision, but all the things in between. How do you move? And in some way you could see it like this. I put up, we know our history. I need to put it up here. We know our history, where we're coming from. We have today's situation. We have a mission, a vision, maybe some picture, 2-3 years, what we want to see achieved. But there's something in between. We have some resources. We have value system that is really impacting us. There are some resistance, spiritual, different ways of energy that comes against us. There are some hindering, but we move forward. And it's the thing in between that we're working with. How do we move? How do we move ourselves? And that's a lot of management competence or social competence. Management competence is really move to getting the result. Social competence is to get the people with us, on board them, and have them with us to get the result, to come where we want to come. So this is the big picture. Then we talked about, I will say, leadership. It's all about coming from discipleship. And we talked about a strong we. It's not about me, but it's about us. And you need to embrace the people. Need to give the people space around you. If you are too good at all the things, you get in trouble. Because you need to more put words on the weaknesses, things you're not good at, to create space for people around you as a leader. And leadership comes from discipleship. And discipleship, as leaders, we are fathering. We are there for God, with God, fathering people around us. We give identity and we speak identity. As I do to my children, I speak identity in their life, the 4 children. And I know I regret a lot of the words I said when I raised the children. And I'm coming back to them and said, I know we failed in many ways. That's reality, because we are people and we not always speak the good identity in people around us. But as leader, we need to understand that we are speaking identity into the people around us. That's what we do, because we are fathers and mothers for people. And we also love them unconditionally. We really love people unconditionally. Give them space, give them a possibility to failure. And we support them, we raise them, we are there. And you know, when we talk about people development, I come back to that, we are not talking about developing yourself for your own purpose. We are always have the goal of developing people to pleasing God, to be a blessing for Him. That's the way, that's our development. So when we talk about self-development and personal development, it's always with the heaven above. How can we develop people that make the glory to God and please Him? It's not about us, it's about Him. In all personal development in Christian area, it's all about how can we love God with all our heart, all our mind, all our power, all our skills, all what we are, and make it an offering that is a joy to Him. That's our perspective of life. That's our perspective of all people development. It's not about me, you, it's about Him. He's the ultimate goal for all development. I'm coming back to that. So, and then we need to give people a place to be. A place where they feel safe. A place where they can know what expectations are, what they are expected. And I think this is where we ended more or less last night. And we had this biblical, I think you should go home and read it for yourself. 1 Thessalonians 2, 1 to 16. Because we believe God is three in one. There is a unity in diversity. Jesus sent out teams 2 by 2. Paul, as an example, he never operated alone. And the elders, the leadership in the biblical sense is always in plural. That's why it's not about me, it's about us, it's about we. And that's the biblical understanding of leadership from my perspective. I believe there is a leader, and I believe in leadership, absolutely. But I believe the wisdom is always in the body. Because in Christ, who is embodied here on the earth, all wisdom is in place. So for me, it's the understanding, if I lack wisdom, that I do often, I always need to listen to the other, to understand the other, because there are always wisdom for everything in the body, in the people. So for me as a leader, it's always to listen in, to understand. But I have to make decision. I have to be a part of implementing it. Sometimes we need to make decision, and sometimes it's hard to make decision. But I believe if you only have your own world, you will take bad decisions. You need to listen in, because the wisdom is always in the body. It's not only in you. Therefore, that's a principle for me in leadership, that the wisdom is in the body. There is always wisdom. So I will always throw out things to get understanding and get praying and where people are, and also what God is speaking into it. And from that, try to unify direction and take a decision and implement. Because there is a strong we. It's plural. It's an elder. It's together when we look at the biblical perspective of being a team of leaders. In the article you read, you got it before, this is very simplifying when it comes to team. But it's okay to say that a team has to have a unifying or unity in diversity. It's knowing myself, taking my place, knowing the other, affirming their place, and complementing each other. A strong team is diverse people, and I will say it's diverse, unified in vision, relation, and values, but diversified in giftings, skills, and personality. So it's not diversified in vision, values, and relation, and unified in giftings. No, that's not that. And as a YM, we know that when you grow an organization, the only thing that keeps us together is a common vision, is common values, and relationship. It's not the structure, it's not the organization, it's common vision, common values that we really believe in, and relationship. And the bigger the organization grows, like in Europe, the more challenged the trust issue is. And the more you need to work with the relationship. between leaders. Always, always you need. But unified in vision, relation, and values, but diversified in gifting, skills, and personality. So that's the one part. The other part is to have a clear understanding of how we resolve conflicts, quick, open, and fair. Because conflict you will have and you have had. Or? You have. So we need as a team to deal with that in an open, fair, and direct way. Understanding the anatomy of conflict, solving conflicts consciously, and we agree upon rules and live up to them. The third thing is determined vision and strategy. And this is what we also work with. So all these three things, simplified, is important in a team. And if you look at this, this is what I want that everybody of my people know in my team. I want them to know the spiritual gifts and the natural professional talent or skill. That's what they are able to do. So the skills, the giftings, what they are able to do. I want them to know that. We onboard in our local church a 19 years old girl. And I have a skill workshop, very simple one, with cards. Fun. You can get it in YM if you want. Because, this is an expand tool that developed. And I developed in the card. And I made the card play. Take me 15 minutes with her. And then she got like her top 10 skills. And one of the skills was leadership. Another one was music, or because she's already leading the worship team. And another one was teaching. That was one of the 6 top skills, was that. Empathy was another one. We look at analytic skills, relational, social skills, creative skill, and practice skills, different kind of skills. It's from one called Arthur Miller, who have worked on skills analyze. And I said, okay, next year, what do you want to develop? Well, I want to develop my teaching skills, worship skills, and leading skills. Okay, you're going to teach at least twice a month, maybe 3 times, in the Sunday school, in the youth, and one every half year in the Sunday service. You are 19 years old. And then we make a path 1 year to train her in 3 skills. And really help her, because when she's 20 years, she's a quite good, full-blown preacher, 20 years old. Why? Because we recognize the skills and we make a path for developing them. But it's not only the skills, it's also the personality. The personality is how do you work out with your skills? Because you can have one who do it this way, another do it this way, but they have the same skills, but the way they do it comes from their personality. They are different. And to understand the way you function, your personality strength is okay. And also, where do you like to work it out? That's more motivational circumstances. That's also different. Me and my wife is so different. I get energized by being with people. She gets energized by being alone. That's a trouble for her, because I always bring people in. But we are motivated by different things. Someone needs, as a leader, I know someone needs more kind of clear, determined rules around them, and they know what to do, and others don't. They only need, do this, go there, and they find the path. Someone needs a path, others find the path. And if you think you can deal with all the people the same way, from who you are, I'm sorry to say that's stupid leadership. You can't. You need to deal with the people in different ways and not align the people from who you are. You need to understand them and give space for them from where they are as leaders. And then you need to know the strengths and the motivation, but also the value system. And I talked a little bit about it yesterday, because you need to know what is important values for them, what are energizing them, what priorities are they working from. That's important. And all the thing is knowing myself, serving through who I am, like 1 Peter 4:10. Serve out of the grace God has given me, not the grace he has not given me. And a lot of times we serve of the grace God has not given us. I believe we are servant as kind of the bottom line of every leadership or every Christian ministry. We are servant. We don't need to have a gifting to do some practical work. It just do it. And we know that. And we teach your people to be servant-like. At the same time, it's good to help them to work out of the grace they have and help them to understand who they are. And we are here now. This is more or less a good leader help his people to understand their potential. This is their potential. Where are they? And we're going to talk about developing that potential. But this is the fourth thing. I think this is important, that I work with my leaders to clarify, because then I know where they are and I know who they are in a good way. So that's and then important to clarify, we talked about that yesterday, commitment, expectation, time, money, resource, and roles. We talked about this. And then resolve conflict, open, quick, fair. I will say there's different kinds of conflicts is coming up. When we now work, we are here now. We are moving people with a lot of conviction, motivation, and passion to the vision. And we are building team here together who are going to do the strategy. But then we get some conflict. It's intrapersonal conflict. It's conflict with myself. And sometimes I'm in conflict with myself. With my priorities. I do too much. I have said yes to too much. And I feel the tension in myself. I regret I said yes. Have you had that feeling sometimes? And there is an internal conflict, there's intrapersonal conflict. There's something within me that really struggle. And if that's ongoing all the time, you really get tired. So you in some way need to find a way to live with peace with yourself. To have a deal with your integrated life house. So there is some balance in your life. If not, you live with tension all the time with yourself. And that's not good. Sometimes we live with tension because we know this is the direction of our life, but we feel it's going in another direction. And there is intrapersonal tension. It's something that we feel it's not satisfying. We know that there is something else, other things. And that's, if you live with that tension too long, you need to deal with it. Because you're losing energy. That's important. So that's one way of having conflict, is with yourself. With your priorities. There is another, is interpersonal conflict with others. And in your team, you will have interpersonal conflicts. You have had probably. You have to deal with it. And it's hard. But as a leader, we need to deal with it. I would say, this is a hard, are you filming this? Yes. Okay, I don't say that. It's too personal. Or not, yeah. But as a leader, you often are tested. How the way you deal with things that are difficult or personal relationships that are in conflict. Because if you let it go, you also diminish your leadership. Because people observe you, how you do it, how you get into it, or how you not do it, how you not get into it. So as a leadership, we often gain authority, mandate, through the way we deal with conflicts. And we help to deal with it and get a good solution of it. When we're doing it, it's a testing field of leadership. It's really a testing field of leadership, how we deal with tension and conflict in the interpersonal. Both from me to others, but also between others we are leading. In the team, it's a testing field for leadership, how we deal with it. But then we have also, with my role, personal functional conflict. And often we get a lot of conflict because we don't clarify roles and function. We don't give a clear enough place for people. They don't know. The place is not clear. The function, the role is not clear. Yes? Yeah, I don't know my role or in the team, so it's the role of the people. My role is not clear, and then I get in tension with the other people or with the leader. If my role is not clear, my energy is not used in the best way, and then it's creating conflict around. If you as a leader not clarify the role of your team people, they get in tension because you increase the possibility for tension by not clarifying function and role. And you diminish, it's like give the possibility, the energy to go in all directions. So if you go, look here, and you are a team that really want to go, so you are a team of people that want to go in the direction, and the role is not clear, someone will a little go more there, someone here, and someone there. Because it's not clarified in the direction, the role of people, what they're going to do. And so there is always a tension coming up if not the function and roles are clarified. So you need to work with that. And then it's the harder thing. It's with my organization, it's personal organization conflict, it's value conflict. I'm coaching people on the work because I also work in the business. And sometimes we come to the place where some leaders feel I can't be here. There's conflict. Especially I have had people who have stopped in their work because the demand of the workspace is so hard. You can't work 47, 50 hours. It's like 70 hours a week, a lot of traveling. And the family conflicts is so tension that you coach them to come to a place where they choose what value system will rule you. Is it more important with your family, with your kids, or is it more important with the money and with the career? And for some, this is a value conflict with the organization. It really, and they need to choose. They need to choose. What value system do I run from? And there have been leaders in the business who have 2 marriages behind them. The kids won't see them, and they are 50 years old. And they so regret. They say, if I could live the life again, I would definitely choose differently. And that's reality, because it's a value system from all life to the organization. And I hope we haven't too much value conflict, but there could be value conflict in a team, to be honest, if it's not clarified. And this is the hardest one to deal with. The other one is easier to deal with, the value conflict, because this comes from our conviction, our motivation and passion. It's like we have these running our local churches. You know, I were nearly accused to not be a really good Christian because I said when Jerusalem had some celebration here, the 4th of May or 14th of May or something like that, someone remember? There was a celebration. Yeah. And they said we need to have an Israelitic flag on the front of the pulpits in the church because if not, we are not really Christian. That's a value system. That's a conviction. And I said, well, We have Muslim here in the church. We have different people here in the church. We will not have that. We will not have that. And I was nearly accused for not being a good leader, good Christian, or something else. Why? It's values. It's conviction. It's really strong, strong conviction. And in the church, we are run by a lot of conviction. And leader, to deal with that and lead through that, it's sometimes the most difficult things. Really the difficult thing for me as a leader. But it could be that on the YM base also. Could be. So that's not happened. But you need to deal with it. You know, on the personal level, this is how conflict is arising. We are different people. Differences I misunderstand other people. Sorry. I misunderstand other people. And you have been there. The misunderstanding creates hurts and disappointment. And you have been disappointed, I guess, and hurted by people. As a leader, we will. That you start to accuse. While not officially and openly, only a little bit in your mind. Just he don't understand me. He really not spend time. He's not listening in. You start just in your mind a little bit to accuse the other. And maybe you already then start to ask if other recognize the same as you recognize of the other people. That's most danger, because then you start to make parties. But then you withdraw. You get a version and you withdraw a little bit. Well, you don't look it in the eyes. It's not so easy to come to the meeting, so I'm not there. Or you start to withdraw. And now you are losing the sight, the eye contact, because there are something in between you. You're building a wall. And we can't have a healthy team with walls in between the members of the team. It's impossible. And if you continue to do this, you have this great distrust in the team. And you maybe have unforgiving and hate. In reality, that has also happened in Youth with Mission. Strong walls are built. But as a team, you need to understand this will happen. It have happened and it will happen again. So you need to make some team rules or agreement. And this is purely biblical. That if one has something against each other, we even not break the bread together before we have gone to them and spoke it out and we reconciled. If not, we are eating ourselves to judgment, the Bible says. So we said, well, in the team, we want to stop this here. Because here we still have eye contact. And we have to see each other in the eyes. And I say to my people in the team, I say, I know. I remember when we planting the second church, I said to people, I have so much energy. I'm so leaning forward that you probably will experience I manipulate you. But if I should think through every word I say, to feel every feelings in the room of what they feel about me and try to figure out everything, I will be crazy not be here. So I'm relying on you be honest with me. So if you feel I'm pushing too much or I'm saying something that hurts you, it's your responsibility to come to me. I will try to be as sensible I can. I'm not too much. My wife is much more, so she tells me a lot. Sensitive, yeah, okay. Thank you. I can, but it's your responsibility. If you are getting hurt or disappointed, you come to me. If I feel the same, I come to you. Is that an agreement? This is our team agreement. We will not build walls here. And it's my responsibility and it's your responsibility. So when you feel we are not talking about each other, but to each other. Ephesians 4, chapter 4, verse 27 to 29. Speak to each other, not about each other. That's our agreement. And I always make that agreement in every team I start. Because it's a biblical principle. And you need to talk about it. Because not you give a space for people to lead from their hurt and disappointment. And in many ministry and in many churches, the churches are led by the people that are disappointed and hurted, and then manipulated the whole groups of people. Did you understand what I said? No. That's reality. We're not allowing that. It's not allowed. It's allowed to be hurt and disappointed, but it's not allowed to go here. Accusation. Then we speak, clarify, go direct with the people around. And I think that's for you as a team. You need to have a team agreement on this to really grow healthy. And then, so unified in diversity, clear understanding of how you solve conflicts, and then the vision strategy. And we talked about that. Vision and its different definition. But vision is where do we go and why. It's purpose and direction. Strategy, what do we do to see the vision come through? So what do we do here? What do we do? What people do we need with us? What are the steps? What do we build an organization? How do we do it to come to the vision? And then the value, how do we relate together? It's fellowship, culture. How do we want to build together in the team? What is the important to spend time on? What is the important to talk about? I said that yesterday. This is the key that has to be clear, has to be known, has to be easy to capture. And I want to do a little bit, this is not in the, here. But I want to take a paper, and in some way this is only a repeating of what you already have done. But I want to clarify even more, to be more specific. Like with the teenage, I think it's too fussy. He has to be much more clear, especially with long-term goals. What do you want to see in 2020? Has to be much more clear. And also the vision. Inspire teenage, that's nice, but what? What is really the vision? So, and whom do we serve? That's about the customer. Be specific. If it's all the world, well, it's not too specific. And again, for some of you who have 10 ministry on the base, you need to maybe choose some area, but you can also choose the work you do with the whole base. So, mission, why do you exist? Why are we existing? In some way, it's to knowing God and making Him known. That's our mission, that's why I'm. But maybe God has spoken other words that gives direction to the mission. Why? Vision, where do we go and why? So that's more the vision, and some of you have written the vision. But again, I see again and again that if you don't speak the vision to your team every week, they forget it. So when I do this now, it's not like for an exercise. You need to sharpen the vision, clarify the vision, and speak it every week to your team. This is why we're here. This is what we do. As much as I can, I speak the vision in my local church. We are an intergenerational church that make disciples by bringing people in, I have in Norwegian EVE, up in out, into Christ, into each other, and out to the mission field. I don't know the English word here. So you have to speak vision. Who are you? What will that mean for you? So now I give you 50 minutes, and then we have another break. I think that's okay to have 50 minutes, and we start again at 11 o'clock. Okay, that's 25 minutes from now. To really just take a paper and make these 4 things. And make it clear so it's easy to communicate with people around you. So, why do we exist? And if it's so big and so fussy, everything, that it's difficult for people to connect with it. So why do we exist? The vision, where do we go and why? Who do we serve? A long-term goal, or call it focus area. Where do we see ourselves 2-3 years? What have happened? And it's not, for me, it's not a contradiction between being led by God, because that's also why God just speaks and we do. I love that. And strategic thinking. For me, it's not a contradiction. For some of you, maybe in the room, it's a contradiction. The only thing we can do is to, like discipleship, is to listen to God and obey. That's discipleship. It's to listen to God and obey. That's the definition for me. That's what we do. But it's a contradiction doing that and think strategic? Well, I think there's a lot of stories in the Bible that said there is a bigger picture, there is a dream, there is a strategy. Paul, if I look at Paul, he has the big vision was to reach the whole world for Christ and go out, but he had a strategy for what he was doing. At the same time, he was led by God. There's not a contradiction for me to be visionary, to think strategic, and be led by God. Like Lord. So, I put on some music, I put on some countdown, and I put on 25 minutes, because then we start again, and you need to have a... What? And you need to have some break also.
If you say you want my love, and there ain't no doubt about it. If you really want my love, you gotta have a little talk about it. 'Cause I've been waiting for a long, long time.
PowerPoint, so you can have together.
Wondering if I'd ever find someone to cheer this lonely heart of mine. So if you say you want my love, oh baby.
Ja, men dere hadde jo, det brukte jo litt mer av min tid.
If you say you want my love, and there ain't no doubt about it.
So it's coffee also now. So you use the 25 minutes to take some coffee and work. So go and get some coffee to your team, but also sit down after a while to work together. So it's coffee time also.
Such a long time. Wondering if you'd ever find someone to give you more than just some line. Girl, you know I really need your love. We gotta have a little talk about it. 'Cause we've got so far to go. We've got to know that it's for real this time. We gotta have a little talk about it.
Some days you feel like a rock star, and some days you feel like disco queen. With Spotify Premium, you can play the perfect song
Er det andre ting som er disse tre setningene som detter ut? betyr det? Det Men hvis du kan jobbe med å synliggjøre det skriftlig, og det har sikkert gjort det, men som gjør det lett for folk å si det er dette vi sier. Når vi går ut, så er det dette som er hva vi har på med. Det kan ikke være så bare for som mennesker gjør. Jeg har jo litt lett fine folk, eksempel på denne her, er gutterne for meg. Altså selvvalg i fakt. Dagens skole med 200 stykk, og jeg stiger med det altså, men det har jeg litt fort til, og det er faller altså, for egentlig gang. Men så har jeg sagt, og det var Gud som vet det, men grunnen for en tekst, sier jeg, og det har fått en skjønt, det er at han ønsker jordas kultur og kjærlighet. For det er masse var i Japan, og på møte med meg, og bare 1% av noen milliarder, og sånn sett skjønner jeg at vi bare vil si og ha et momentum. Ja, vi må ha dagsordenen og så derfor kommer det inn i teksten, og jeg skriver med det selv. For det er ubehagelig. Det er ubehagelig. Så i samtidig så det er liksom, jeg har den der fascinasjonsgløden med som jeg sa jo også, sant? Det er mora, sånn 50 mennesker, og sånn, det er kjempe, sant? Det er jo som henter på det, så det er på en måte ja, nei, jeg vet ikke. Det er klart det er krevende. Det er veldig krevende, for du har litt problem i at det ligger ned de fort, men for å forklare litt grann at jeg er jo baseleder som tilbyggende, og så er jeg drevet LTS, og så er jeg jo en størrelse også i regionen her. Har en hele tiden min stemme her, kan jeg begynne å vise at det er baltisk prosessen. Og jeg kaller det her.
Ja, og da er det jo på evne til å reise flere organisasjoner til så står han så. Så man blir sånn mange av det. Eller blir det ikke så?
Nei, det blir det noe. Jeg er så gale at jeg greier å kunne ned på en løsning. Jeg har hatt utdelser her. Jeg er så gale at jeg greier det også. Så det er at Nei, den har vi utviklet på en måte aldri for noe. Det er franchise, det er veldig bra. Det har
No, I don't know. I'm just glad. There's just no. Yeah. Do you want it off? Yeah, Martin, yeah. Where's the alarm? Have a look.
I understood you rather took coffee and had a good break. So I give you, we start in 10 minutes and then you have to have done the work also. So I put up and then I start. In 10 minutes I start. And you're gonna, I have a 10 minutes introduction and then you're gonna work for the next hours. So, I need to.
The one question was, do you think that's clear? Because that was what I heard really clearly. Is it you need to be clear and specific?
I think creating learning community influence